big story we're tracking at this hour comes on the back of edtech giant BYJU'S Valuation tanking by as much as 95%. From once valued at $22 billion, the company is currently valued at just over $1 billion. What has led to a massive dip in valuations, and what is impacting the company at the moment? Since we keep talking about it, Kartik Malhotra here with me in the studio.
Hi,
Kartik, hi. Good morning. BYJU'S is a story in unmaking. The story is in making, and then BYJU'S is an unmaking, because a company that ballooned in its valuation, in asset size, and in popularity once became a trademark company for every other startup to emulate, is now literally finding it difficult to sustain, if I may say so.
Yeah, I mean, I think the troubles for BYJU'S have been around for a while now, Shweta, and everybody has seen what has happened in all of 2023. In fact, even starting October 2022 onwards, we've seen this little correction in the valuation of BYJU'S. Now, we saw all of 2023, investors like Prosus had done multiple rounds of cutting valuation of BYJU'S. Like you said, once valued at over $22 billion, it had come down to about a $3 billion mark by end of 2023. And within the first 11-12 days of 2024, we've seen now the valuation, even from those very reduced $3 billion, is down to a third of that, to about $1 billion. Why has all this happened? I think all that has happened because finally investors are beginning to realize that there is a very less likelihood of BYJU'S coming back into the green, coming back into a business which is profitable on unit economics, and a business which can continue to scale at a rate at which it scaled up until 2022. When the pandemic was still pretty much real and present.
And so there's very little value in BYJU'S at the moment. We're still awaiting the financial results for 2023. We don't know how they are. But as far as financial results for 2022 is concerned, they were not very bad at the moment. What are the current challenges in front of BYJU'S? What should BYJU'S or BYJU Ravindran be mitigating? I know he's listed out his priorities list as to what the company should be looking at, a course correction perhaps this year.
So I think there are a lot of issues that BYJU'S is dealing with right now. The first and foremost among those is the FEMA violation charges against the company, and that, according to a meeting held by BYJU Ravindran and AGM held in the first week of December, that was number one on his priority list, that those FEMA charges, which he's in denial of, need to go away one way or another. So I think that is something that he's taking personally, and that is something that he is really keen to fight as the first battle to, at least if nothing else, clear his name, his company's name off the corporate governance, the top of the corporate governance issues list. So FEMA violation charges is number one. Number two is the $1.2 billion term loan B, which there doesn't seem to be a roadmap to repay, because the sale of Epic and Great Learning, two assets bought from companies running those in the United States at the peak of work from home, study from home 2021, 2022, have not, that gamble, that investment has not paid off. So getting those monkeys off his back is the second biggest priority for BYJU Ravindran, and some sort of repayment of that $1.2 billion term loan B. The third important problem right now, of course, is, which actually is number 5 on his list, but actually, okay, so let's talk about his own priority order first. Number 3 on his list is the audited statements of FY23, which have been elusive for what, almost 8-9 months now. I mean, they should have been reported back in July. The deadline, extended deadline, was July 2023. We haven't seen those results come out. So that is number 3 on his bucket list, so to speak, right now when it comes to saving his company. And I think the most critical among all this is there growth? Is there a business model? Is there a path to profitability? That is actually the last on the priority list for BYJU Ravindran. But I think for investors, that is obviously among the top most items on agenda. If there is no path to profitability, if there isn't a business model, even the folks, the well-wishers of BYJU Ravindran, folks like Ranjan Pai, etc., are going to walk only a little bit of distance. Beyond that, people will want to withdraw, and will want to withdraw the life support that BYJU Ravindran is on right now, and withdraw their investments into the company. So overall, I think global organizations like Prosus, like BlackRock, etc., which have been early investors in the company, are now not very sure of whether their investments will ever pay off. So on their own books, they are slashing the valuation. It's not that this valuation is on the basis of which BYJU Ravindran has raised fresh funding. This is basically the asset quality asset size on the books of investors like Prosus and BlackRock, which is now getting downgraded. So their investments, which at one point would have fetched them at a valuation of $22 billion, is now going to fetch them returns at a valuation of $1 billion, which obviously is 95% down, and terribly bad news for BYJU Ravindran.
Terribly bad news for BYJU Ravindran as of this morning. The company's valuation has been slashed by, as I mentioned, 95%. BYJU Ravindran has a laundry list of actions that he needs to take and needs to take now in order to clear his name and the company's name of the charges that the company is currently dealing with.